And when you're learning a thing like that, it's useful to take notes. Personally, I'm a little scatterbrained and I don't know where my thoughts are. And Cosmonote has built a really cool note-taking application for programmers that I think you'll be interested in seeing. So I'm gonna hand it over to them to talk through it.
Hi, my name is Jerry, and I'm here with my teammates, Pat and Alex. We are the makers of Cosmonote, a note-taking app made specifically with developers in mind. So learning full-stack development in 3 months was a huge challenge. We all found ourselves taking an endless amount of notes, all on closely related topics. So we decided to build an app where you can easily write, run, and execute code, take notes in Markdown, and visualize your notes as nodes. So let's pretend it's my first day of boot camp. We took notes on data structures this morning. Now I need to take a new note on queues. So here I am in the text editor. I'm going to add some notes in Markdown. And then I'm also going to add a code block so I can see how this concept is actually implemented. So we'll paste it in here. And great. So when we scroll to the bottom, we can make our code runnable. This is to make sure that we don't have any bugs in our code. So when we click run, we'll get our output at the bottom and everything looks great. No more taking notes in Google Docs. So the last thing I want to do is I want to link to a note that I took this morning. So if you click the link button and use our Elasticsearch bar, you can add a association in line. Awesome. So when I go back to the home page, you can see our constellation of notes. And something you can do is click and drag and draw lines to make general associations between notes. So here all of our notes are associated. Let's fast forward.
Thanks, Jerry. Now let's imagine it's 6 weeks later and I'm halfway through the program. I can see all of the notes I've taken so far as a single web. Now, I'd like to review for my midterm, so what better way to start than by looking at my note on queues for my first day? Now that I know that I'm on the right note, I'd like to see just that note and its associations. Here, I can see my first day of note represented as a web of relations. Now, let's take a closer look at that note on queues. I'd like to become reacquainted with the context that I made, so I'm going to hover over the inline link that I made earlier and get a preview at the reference that I made. Great. Now I'd like to associate this note with another note inside of the editor using the general associations at the bottom. I can use the Elasticsearch bar, search for the note I want to associate with, click on it, and make a persistent association in the database. Now I'll be able to look at this note from the notes that are listed. Now I want to make sure that that association stuck, so I'm going to scroll back up and click on the visual button on top. Now I can see that my associations have gone from 5 notes to 6. Now I seem to remember that there was a portion on databases in the midterm, so I'm going to use our Elasticsearch bar to find that note. Now I'm quickly reviewing everything else that I've written. Great. I'm going to hand it off to Pat to talk about some of the challenges.
Thanks, Alex. At its core, Cosmonote is comprised of 3 simple components: the ACE text editor, web visualization using Cytoscape, and full text search using Elasticsearch. The main challenge we had was taking these brand new technologies and integrating them with what we learned at Bootcamp. Elasticsearch is an integral part of our app. It indexes all the text in our notes for near real-time retrieval. We had 2 challenges with implementing it: syncing it with our primary database and a CORS error that prevented our app from communicating with Elasticsearch. To sync the 2 databases, we used hooks on our object relational mapper, and to fix the CORS problem, we used a proxy to redirect search requests. Our flashiest component, Cytoscape, presents our notes in beautiful constellation-like graphs. It was a challenge to transform what is essentially a library for scientific visualization into an interactive database that allows us to preview, edit, delete, and associate notes dynamically. Integrating our visualization with higher-level frameworks such as Redux also caused lots of issues, but it gave us a lot of flexibility in the end. We also had to build the editor itself. To do this, we used ACE, a full-featured code editor, and RunKit. RunKit made our dream of a note-taking app with runnable code come true, but we had a bit of trouble with its outdated documentation. Lastly, one of the most rewarding features was being able to create associations based on Markdown links inside our notes, and the logic behind that was very challenging to implement. That's all for us. Thanks for watching, and we hope you check out Cosmonote.
You know, I'm a really big note taker, but I'll have to admit that my notes are, I guess, pretty old-fashioned, I would say. You can probably often see me carrying around like multiple notebooks, just like scribbling down in my with my pencil, and I'm probably often asking Colin, "Hey, Colin, have you seen my notebook?"
It's on your desk right now. I saw it in the lounge.
Okay, well, there you go. Thank you. But my notes are so disorganized because I'm just like scribbling down things in them. And especially if there's anything code related, it's really hard to even decipher like what I've written half the time. And then obviously I can't run or execute that code if I've written them down. So honestly, I think I'm going to have to switch over and, maybe start using Cosmonote as a way to organize my notes in a much more efficient way.